Good morning students. I hope you all are fine at home and you have continued your learning process during this break. So now again we are back with that process of teaching and learning. Now the syllabus of PT1 was completed in the month of April and May. This is yet another chapter which is going to come in your half yearly. Your PT1 syllabus revision I will be taking just 1 week before the PT1 exam starts. And whenever your PT1 exam is going to start, that will be intimated to you well in advance. So don't worry about the exams right now. We are continuing with the half yearly syllabus now. Now let's look at the second chapter, that is nutrition in animals. Nutrition in plants was completed in the month of April and May. So you are aware how the nutrition process takes place in plants. Now in this chapter we will look into detail how nutrition takes place in animals. We all know that there are two modes of nutrition. One is autotrophic and one is heterotrophic. Plants are autotrophic. Why we call the plants as autotrophic? Because plants are able to prepare their own light using sunlight, carbon dioxide, chlorophyll and water. The autotrophs are the ones which are providing the food to the heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are the ones who are not going to make their own food, or we can say they don't have the ability to prepare their own food. They depend upon the autotrophs or other organisms for their food. Now let us look into the mode of nutrition present in heterotrophs. Now the first one you can see, that is the first type of heterotrophic organisms are herbivores. Herbivores are the animals that feed entirely on the plants, like you have the goat, cow, etc. Next category is the carnivore. Carnivore are the animals which are entirely dependent upon the flesh of other animals. Or in other words, we can say that flesh-eating animals are called as carnivores. Next you have the omnivores. Omnivores consist of a group of animals which can eat plants also as well as other animals or meat of other animals. Like you have got the crow. Human beings are also omnivores because they are also eating the plants also as well as eating the animals also. Now the next category is of parasites. Parasites are the organisms which are deriving the nutrition from other organisms. They derive the nutrition from the other organisms and they cause the harm to the host. Host means the organism on which it is living. For example, mosquito. Mosquitoes are parasites. Why? Because they derive the nutrition from the blood by sucking the blood from our body, and they are causing a harm to our body. That is, sometimes we can have the disease malaria, itching is there, swelling can take place when a mosquito bites. So these are the categories which come under parasites. Another category of the organisms, that is mode of nutrition which is followed by organism, is saprophyte. Saprophytes are organisms which are depending upon the dead and decayed organisms. For example, eagle is there, vulture is there. You can see the fungus on the bread, isn't it? Whenever the decayed food materials are present or the food material is dead, then you are having the saprophytes which will be living on that and taking the nutrition from that particular organism. Now saprophytes are got an advantage since they are surviving on dead and decayed organisms. They are not causing any harm to the organism on which they are feeding because already the organism is dead. Now some feeding patterns are seen in some of the animals that entirely depends upon the food which the animal is taking. Okay, so some examples are given in your book which shows the feeding patterns. That is mosquitoes, as we have discussed here, they are parasites. Mosquitoes, they have got the mouth parts which are able to pierce into the body of the other organism or the host so that it can suck the blood easily. Another example you can take of leeches. Leeches are also organisms which you can see in forest, in trees, etc. They have got particular piercing objects. Piercing means something that can make hole inside your body and then it can suck the blood. Snakes are organisms which directly swallow the food as a whole. That means that whatever organism, you might have seen the pictures of the snake swallowing a frog as it is or swallowing a squirrel as it is. So as a whole they are not going to chew it. they are going to take, they have got sharp teeth in the front, and they are going to take the organism as a whole and swallow it. Now birds have got beaks, they have got the claws also. With the help of the claws they will hold the prey, and with the help of the beaks they can eat the prey. Now oysters are there. These are small aquatic organisms found in the water. They are taking the food that is present inside the water. That water will be passing through the mucus. Mucus is a sticky substance like you have inside your nose. That is mucus. So this sticky substance is present on the gills. Okay, so water will be flowing, carrying the food, that will pass through the gills, and whatever food is required by the body, that will be taken inside the body of the oyster, and remaining unwanted substance will remain stick to the mucus, and it will be left out inside the water only. Now tapeworms are other organisms which are usually found inside the body of human beings, animals, etc. Inside the body means they are particularly found inside the small intestine. Inside the small intestine, tapeworms, actually you can see that since their appearance is like a tape, we call it as tapeworms. They have got special suckers or hooks like this, with which they can attach to the small intestine of our body, and with this suckers only it will be absorbing the nutrients directly from the small intestines. So these are the feeding patterns of certain animals. Now let us look at the process that is involved in nutrition in animals.